You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Palace of Megapixels. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, is my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Oh, happy Monday.
So how's your Monday going? We're right on the home stretch. Thanksgiving's right around the corner.
I know. I keep forgetting about it because it seems like once it starts to happen, the holidays just go boom, 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 boom. And everything sneaks up on me. So I guess I'm ready. Yeah. We'll actually go visit, his my in-laws, I should say, the in-law parents for Thanksgiving. It'll be the first time we've done anything on a holiday. Well, nothing the last couple of years. So it'll be interesting to see, because usually theirs was always a big gathering, but hasn't been, of course. So maybe it'll just be us, and his sister. So there might be like 6 of us.
Yeah, we usually try to do a big family gathering, maybe at my parents' house or something like that. But this year, with my brother and his wife having a new baby, they wanted to try and limit trips, which I can understand. I mean, two-hour drive with an infant is,
that's probably not a great time.
No. So I get where they're coming from. So we decided that we're going to do something with them, like on the weekend when they're free.
Oh, good. Yeah.
But, everybody else was like, well, we're just not going to have, Thanksgiving or whatever. I was like, hell no. I said, I'm still having Thanksgiving dinner. Right. I don't give a damn what anyone else does. I said, if you want one, you come here. I said, we're going to do it. If you don't, I mean, no sweat off my back. I don't care. Yeah. But I'm going to have a turkey dinner. That's it. So suddenly, everybody was like, okay, well, what do you want to bring? What do you want to bring? My daughter, Jade, I'm excited to see what she brings. And if I knew she listened to the show, which, I'm probably going to say she doesn't, but I'm just saying.
We'll test it.
We're testing now.
We're testing.
But I'm excited to see what she does because she got all excited. She was like, hey, whatever y'all want me to bring, I'll bring it. I'm making it. She's on a cooking kick right now. So she was eager to do everything. And it was like, all right, we'll just, we'll limit what you can do. But she still took on the burden of most of it, in my opinion. But again, she wants to do it. I want to see what she can do. So she's going to bring most of the side stuff. And
fine. She's
all excited about doing it. And I'm eager to try it because she came over a few weeks back. I think it was in October. And she wanted to cook dinner. And she's like, hey, I'm going to do General Tso's chicken. And we're like, okay.
Ooh, nice.
Homemade, mind you.
Yeah.
Okay,
all right.
so all the ingredients for it. She went out and found the specific chicken, specific flour to bread it with, and all this other stuff. Very, very specific. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Nice.
So I'm eager to see what she does with this.
Exciting.
Yeah.
And good food is exciting. I do look forward to days where I'm like, ooh, today's all about lots of good food.
Yeah, good food.
Naps.
And just relaxing. I think that's the other part of it, too, because, you get to Christmas time and everything. And I guess this is just me getting older. It's Christmas time. It's like, ooh, the presents and everything like that. I don't give a shit about the presents now. I've got everything I need, and I really don't know what more I want.
I'm a Scrooge. I'd rather just skip all of them altogether.
Yeah.
But that's awful. I like to see family and stuff like that, but I find the whole thing too close together and rather stressful that we want to try to do all of the celebrations at the end of the year so closely together. And Well, maybe I'm just bitter because I'm always the one who has to travel. No one ever comes to me. So now I'm just like, ugh, it's going to be 2 days in the car and then staying at someone's house that I'm not comfortable in.
But that's fair. That's fair to be like that because it should be a, give and take. So you go here one year.
Well, we don't have
there.
kids. I learned a long time ago if you don't have kids, your life just doesn't rank. I learned that very long ago that I have to cater to everyone else's.
I have heard that argument. Well, you don't have kids to lug around like the rest
So my
of
life
us.
doesn't nearly mean as much as what I've been told basically my whole life. Yeah. Oh, you could work that day. You don't have kids. Oh, because like I...
Like, oh, yeah.
So now I get to work for you because you bred. Cool. Cool.
I've heard that.
So trust me, on our side, we get just as irritated at y'all. If you left it to yourself, it's fine. Why is it my problem?
But in any case, I was just looking forward to the turkey, the dressing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It feels like a comfort once every year. Just get it done.
I'm
get it
the
done.
same way. I want my turkey. I want my potatoes.
Yeah.
I want all of the carbs in my belly.
No, I've been kind of going through this kick where I don't want to eat meat because every time I do, I feel like I get a bellyache or my stomach just feels a certain way, and I don't ever remember feeling like that. But it possibly could have been something I've noticed more that I don't eat it as much. So now I can identify it immediately, and it's just like, oh yeah, because I ate meat. So I want.
So just always feeling gross. You're like, now.
So now it's I think of the turkey and I'm like, I really want it, but is it going to make my belly hurt too? And then I'm just going to go through that pain and suffering.
Well, have you noticed if it's like red or white meat that does it to your tummy more?
Well, see, I've kind of wondered that too, but it could also be a combination of things because I feel like chicken, so white meat, would be okay. And then some of the red meat that I've had, I've definitely targeted that as something that kind of, I don't want to say it upset. It just feels like it's sitting different, and you're just like,
it's heavy.
Like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've seen chicken do the same, but it could be it's fried certain way or something like that.
Sure.
So,
It's like we might be thinking it was, the chicken, but it was probably also all the butter and the potatoes and all of the corn.
so who knows?
All the other stuff we put in there with it.
I mean, I've honestly considered picking up like a vegan turkey or something like that just for myself. But one, I'd have to find it. And two, if I could pass it as an actual turkey, which I know you can't.
Yeah, I was like, I've never ventured into that.
Yeah, everybody would be
meat.
looking at me going, what the hell is this? And I'm like, it's turkey.
You mean they don't shape it like a turkey? I thought they always tried to make everything look like the real deal.
No, from what I've seen, they look like a big loaf of meat. So,
Oh.
I mean.
Okay, so like you're just getting like the turkey breast or the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see what it would hurt.
A turkey
And
loaf.
I even thought about that. So I was like, what if I just get, turkey for everybody else and I can have the vegan turkey? And then I thought, well, what am I going to eat with it? Because I could make the dressing, but I'm sure that there's some sort of fat in there that'll irritate my stomach. Potatoes for sure. Then you're going to tempt me with mac and cheese or all this other stuff. It's like, it's going to happen
Probably
eventually.
some yams.
Just suck it up and deal with the
Maybe
meat.
just like eat a bunch of, calm your tummy medicine beforehand. You know how some people have to eat like so they don't get heartburn. I gotta take all this now before I eat my pizza. So maybe you just gotta do that.
But another thing too that it could be, not to say that this happens all the time, but even at Thanksgiving, it would make me wonder if this could be something that could irritate my stomach. I noticed that if I'm really anxious before I eat, then
Oh, sure.
and then
Yeah.
obviously, you have family and everybody, and it just gets crowded, and I don't like crowded, but, I mean, my family is a different story. If it was a bunch of other people's family, then sure.
I don't
be
like
all
crowds regardless of how well I know them.
Well, I mean, I can tolerate my own family more, but then, again, at the same time, you get those clashing personalities in a room together, and, certain people
It becomes challenging.
They get foot and mouth disease, where it's like, just shut up. And
I'm really good at the smile and walk away.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just make myself look like a complete dingbat idiot. Like, yeah. As I'm walking away into another room, and then they're like, what the hell is that?
It's like, okay.
But I didn't have to engage. Exactly.
Whatever.
I'm willing to look like the idiot in the room if I don't have to engage in it.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, Yeah.
So you're welcome to steal that.
Okay. I'll put it in my repertoire just in case.
Just file it away. You never know. Might come a moment where you just got to get the hell out. You know?
So before we started the pod, you were talking about a show, but I wanted to bring up a show to you, and then you could tell everybody about your show if you want to.
Oh, okay.
If that's something you want to share.
Show, it's old, but it's new to me.
Well, it's new to you, yeah. That's exactly.
Yeah.
It's new to me too because I hadn't heard of it until this year. So.
Okay.
But this show that I binge watched, and I thought it was worth sharing. And maybe you have or haven't heard of it. I don't know. It's called Only Murders in the Building.
Yes.
Have you heard that? Have you watched that?
I've watched the whole thing.
Yeah. Wasn't that a great show?
It really was. I wasn't sure because I'll admit I love, Martin Short and all them. He's okay. Mm-hmm. It's hit or miss with his style of comedy with me. And I'd never really seen what's her name do any acting.
Yeah.
Selena Gomez, is that right? So,
yeah.
It was cute.
It was
Did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah, I've watched the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
So, and we won't spoil anything.
Spoilers,
I want to just talk about how interesting and charming it was because it towed all the right lines for the show, where it was kind of a black comedy, but it also a murder mystery, and they were just kind of towing a line between the two, and it never felt wrong. You know what I mean? It felt always balanced, proper. And they do a really good job at the murder mystery, too, because I don't know why I didn't suspect the true killer. Because all the signs, I guess, were there, but they also threw us a few red herrings here and there. So it was one of those, you did really good at throwing me off without me suspecting. Because I'm over here looking at this thing that you've shown me, and you're not showing me that thing over there, even though it's clear as day.
No, they did a very good job at that. Because, my theories went around for a couple of times. Mm-hmm. My theories did go around a couple of times. But, before we spoil it. But I was almost close.
Yeah. I don't know why I didn't.
But, the one I knew, anyway, it's kind of hard to do without spoiling the whole thing. So we'll have to chat afterwards.
Right. But no,
one theory I had, I was like, aha.
If you haven't watched it, people, if you got Hulu, go check it out. It's actually, it's only 10 episodes. The episodes are
like half hour each, 45, something like that.
So you'll breeze through it pretty quick. Mm-hmm. And you'll get into it, I guarantee it.
Yeah, and apparently a season 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which, I mean...
I thought it was just going to be its own little mini-series thing.
But after that ending...
Done.
Yeah, after that ending...
There's season 2.
Yeah,
if not, then that was just rude.
Oh, yeah. I'll be so mad. You can't end it like that and not already plan a season 2.
Well, a company would if they didn't think they were going to make any money off of it. I'm still mad about quite a few shows actually doing that to me. So I know it's possible. Let's just hope not. Maybe they're too big a star power.
If
in theirs.
I think the only time you should be planning for a sequel is if you know you can make a sequel. So if you don't have any guarantees for a sequel, don't set anything up. Just let it be.
Yeah. It's okay to make that one story and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll throw this out there, and to me, this is not a spoiler. But I went and saw Ghostbusters Afterlife. Because I wanted
with the sexiest man alive.
Dude, isn't he just
it's
a
just
dream?
So much. It's just la.
Without saying too much about it, I had fun with it. I can also point out it's got a few flaws, if I want to say flaws.
Is this going to be part of the Podcasters Assemble?
Oh, yes.
Are you guys going to end on that? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
It's entries are due, I think, on the 29th, so they're giving everybody about a week, which gives me plenty of time to, write out a syllabus about it and, whatever I want to say. Because, I wish I had access to it a little bit more so I could watch it again just to kind of refresh myself. Because, it's still up there for the most part. But I guess I wanted to see if a second viewing might change or shift my perspective.
Sure. You might find some things you might have missed the first time, too. Yeah.
Because I'll definitely admit the nostalgia factor in that film, it's high. And that could be also to its detriment. When I've heard critics complaining. It's like, it's just a nostalgia fueled, blah, blah, blah. I kind of get where they're coming from now.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But at the same time, I was having fun with it. So...
Then let people enjoy things.
Right. I'm not gonna knock anybody for it. But I also feel like I was talking about with the sequel, I feel like they were setting something up for something later on. And I guess it's not set in stone to what that could be. So it's not really setting up anything direct that you have to follow through on.
But leaving it open.
But you are kind of setting the stage for something. And you don't even know how well that, like, you're banking on this doing very well, much like the 2016 Ghostbusters when they ended with "Who is Zool?" And you're just like, what? No, don't set that up, and you're never going to pay this off with this shit, man.
Yeah.
And we kind of did, if you think about it, in the wrong possible way. They set up Zool for Zool to return, and yes, spoilers, it was in the trailer, was it not? You saw the dog?
I think so.
You saw the dog?
I think so.
Yeah.
And well, I've seen like little clips and interviews now too, you know, just browsing the YouTube. So I don't remember now what was on the trailer or what I've just seen. And, you know, like show the clip.
Yeah.
Jimmy or whatever.
But I'm just saying, the dog was in the trailer. The same dog from the first Ghostbusters. Zool, it's there.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
Yeah.
Connect the dots.
Yeah.
I didn't spoil anything the trailers didn't already spoil. Anyway.
Yeah. And if you didn't know about it, it probably wasn't a spoiler anyway. So it was brand new information. Well, no, then I guess it's a bit. I'm going to shut up. Continue.
So what did you want to tell everybody about the show you've been watching? Getting all obsessed over?
It's so weird. Yeah. So I was watching You on Netflix. Just You. And I think it's on its third season. And it probably landed back in my top 10. So I was like, you know, I kept hearing about it for a few years. And never really went into it because I thought maybe when I heard, you know, stalker, chasing these women, I don't know. But you know what? I did find it quite interesting. And I think, like we were saying before, it's more of like the psychology why I enjoyed Dexter, at least for the first 4 seasons, you know, because it was just more interesting listening to that different thought process, even though it's psychotic and crazy and not acceptable.
Yeah.
But from an entertainment viewpoint, I thought it was very interesting to delve into this guy's psyche and why he thinks he's the hero in every situation. And so that's what sucked me in. So I actually can recommend it. I thought it was interesting. At least the first season was really crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just now on the second one, so I don't know how... Because I was the same way. I'm like, how the hell are you going to make more than one season out of this? You know? But then after I watched the first season, I went, okay, I think I see where you're going with this, and I'm here for it still for a bit. Let's see what's going on. And I'm halfway through the second. And if you liked Dexter's seasons 1 through 4, you might enjoy this one. I just pretend like 5 through 7 doesn't work. Like, doesn't exist on Dexter.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people who do the same
And then
thing.
now we're on 8, so I just skipped to that. Yeah.
Which has still been pretty solid so far. I know it's only, 2
I watched
episodes,
only 2,
and there's
so I haven't
3
watched
out
this
by
last
now.
ones. Yeah. So, okay. I'm letting them set this one up. I'm not completely upset yet. I mean, they explained, I guess, kind of one thing that was weighing on my mind from the first episode. So I was like, you better explain this or I'm going to be just as upset because it doesn't make sense and it's BS. And then they kind of did. I guess it's an acceptable answer.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. Like, I guess I can at least get over it now. Or I'm like, all right, fine. That's an acceptable reason. But yeah, I don't know. I've been finding it very intriguing just listening to it because you get to hear his inner dialogue the whole time on why he did a thing that he did. And it's crazy. And it is psychotic. And it's not healthy. It's not romantic. But
Not from what I saw.
No. Well, the reason we were talking about that earlier, I heard about it when it was new, but I never delved into it then and I don't remember all of the hubbaloo because I didn't dive into it, but I remember I feel like the guy who played the lead came out on Twitter going, hey, can you stop romanticizing him? He's crazy. He's not because I guess there was enough people online going, oh, but he's so in love and she should just fall for him. Or I guess that's how the dialogue was going. And he's like, no. And after I've watched it, no. He's psycho. That's not healthy. You don't need that in your life.
Yeah.
But from an entertainment standpoint, where I'm like, this is fiction, it was interesting. So, yeah. So that's why I was scared. I was like, do I even want to start that show if that's what's going on? And then now 3 seasons in, and I'm starved for something to watch because all of my stuff is done. Like, it's just wrapped up. Like, we're done here. So I was like, fine. So I started it last night, and then here I am. Or not last night. 3 or 4 days ago, and then now here I'm halfway through the 2nd season. So I guess I liked it.
Yeah, I guess that'll be one of our next endeavors. I know we've been trying to dig, and we'll find something here and then. It's like, oh yeah, we'll catch up on this show that we watched, and so on.
And I have to say, they start it right away. That was the nice thing. Like episode 1, right into it. They didn't like drag you through all of this explanation or backstory or anything like this. It was like, very first love at first sight. Let's go. You'll learn about him as the season goes on. And I was just like, okay. Like, there was no like, waiting for something to happen or build it up. Nope. Right into it. First few minutes, we're right in it. I was like, all right, here we go. So, yes.
Excellent.
But, I mean, I guess that it also should come with like a warning or whatever for a lot of people, because it does get really dark and it can get gory and dark. So if that's you, watch with caution, but otherwise enjoy the psychotic that is within this guy's mind.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out at some point. I guess I usually like to wait and hear, or wait until it hits everybody's lips, because hell, like even Squid Game, you know, I'd heard about it because my sister-in-law had mentioned something about it, and then in 2 weeks, it was like everybody's talking about it. I was like, all right, well, I guess we need to get on this.
See, we started watching it just barely before, like maybe within days of me seeing it going online, because we'll flip through Netflix and like see what's in the top 10 or what was new. And then it was just like the bright, colorful art drop. And like him and I have been gravitating more towards like foreign films on Netflix. So we just started watching it. I want to say we watched like 2 episodes, and then a couple of days later is when I was like, oh, I guess we better hurry up or we're going to have spoilers. You know, is what I thought. I was like, we better hurry up and finish it if we're into this. Because people are starting to talk about it now. Yeah, so.
Well, speaking of which, while we're talking about things that people are talking about from this past week, and I just want to kind of bring it up because it was important to me, and I was one of those people just kind of eyeballing, waiting, is that new Spider-Man trailer that came out, and I think everybody was expecting something to be told, and I'm guessing Marvel got their way. Because if you don't know,
I didn't actually watch it. I totally forgot. I'm a horrible human.
No, you're fine.
You can tell me.
So here's the rumor mill. If you're unfamiliar, if you're uninitiated, if you don't want to know anything about this movie, if you're one of those people avoiding spoilers at all costs, you're gonna have to skip at least, let's say the next
a couple minutes,
5 to 10 minutes, give or take. 5 minutes. I'll keep it short.
Of course, most of our siblings probably just jump straight to the 30-minute mark when they start anyway, and that's fair.
That's fine. So the rumor is, based on what the trailer is presenting, or the movie itself has presented to us thus far, since we're bringing in old villains from other movies that Tom Holland wasn't part of, then logic would denote that we're going to see other Spider-Men joining Tom Holland. So we'll bring back Tobey Maguire, and we'll bring back Andrew Garfield. So you'll have...
Is that what I saw on Twitter when they were like, we saw Spider-Man's hugging or something?
So, they had,
where was
candid
so-and-so?
photos.
I feel like was the clickbait.
Yeah, candid photos or something like that of the 3 of them happen to be together or whatever. Because, you want to excite your fans. Be like, look, three Spider-Men standing right here.
Generations of Spider-Man.
And so that's the thought process here, is that these guys are going to be in the movie. Even though we've not seen them in the movie, Andrew Garfield has apparently been put through the ringer, being asked about it, and he has denied it vehemently. He is not in the movie. Absolutely not. No way, not happening. But if you know the Marvel system, there's an NDA that will ruin your life if you spill the beans.
I'm sure.
So he's been at no. Even though 2 of his villains are in that movie, no. So, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Whatever. But there was...
But he's a liar, huh?
But we've seen photos leaked where you see two Spider-Men, specifically Andrew Garfield. You see him on a green screen, but he's on what looks to be a bunch of or scaffolding and rafters. Mm-hmm. In the trailer, there's a big scaffolding. So you're just like, that's the thing that you were kind of on.
Your editors didn't pay attention to the notes when they were cutting trailers.
Oh, even worse. Even worse if you want to talk about a big screw up. Now, as we've seen in the past, Marvel has scrubbed trailers. They've changed stuff. They've shown footage that doesn't even exist in the movie just to kind of throw people off guard, right?
Okay, we discussed, we're here for that.
So there's a shot in the trailer where you see Electro, Sandman, and Lizard jumping at Spider-Man on this big scaffolding. And you see Spider-Man jumping toward them. Okay? It's just one big shot, and you're like, okay, well, it's going to be a big clash, and Spidey's going to get his ass handed to him by 3 villains. In the Brazilian version of the trailer, apparently they forgot to cut a little sooner. Because if you pay attention, if you pay very close attention, and I'm sure it's been taken off the internet, but, the internet nothing ever dies.
It'll never be gone, yeah.
So you can find the clip. The Lizard is leaping forward, then suddenly his neck jerks. Like he's been kicked in the face. But there's nothing there. It's like a ghost. So, what do you think kicked the Lizard's face? Maybe
a ghost!
A Spider-Man that maybe wasn't there. There's been scrubbed from the trailer. Right. It's a very specific thing to happen because his neck jerks like he just got, hit hard.
Right.
But they swear up and down, oh, no. And even the producer himself, Kevin Feige, the man, he's like, you might want to temper your expectations. He's like, don't jerk us around, dude.
Well, they're trying so hard to surprise y'all, the fans, and then the fans just won't let it be.
and hey, look, no, I get it. I want to be surprised, and I really hope that I can go into that movie somewhat surprised, because I even thought about this too, and this is probably true. Marvel, obviously you want to surprise people, but I guarantee you a week or so after the movie's out, you'll see them in the marketing. Because that's how you're going to lure in your next wave of audience members. Because you know the hardcore fans are going to be there for it. Mm-hmm. But then you release marketing showing Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland together. And then those people who didn't have an interest prior might now have a new interest because they're like, oh shit, they're in there. That's awesome. You might have to go see that.
Yep.
And then boom, you've already got them. So the spoilers didn't matter for them because they didn't care in the first place to go see it opening night.
They were going to go see it. Yeah.
Yeah, they were just like, we'll see it eventually. And then you see that and it's like, oh, well, now we may have to go see that now. Mm-hmm. So I get it. I want to be surprised.
Yeah.
I do. I don't want the whole movie spoiled for me.
You'll just have to go to Twitter and block anything Spider-Man.
Yeah, or just stay off Twitter. It's probably a better idea.
It really... It's better for your brain.
Mm-hmm.
I take breaks on the weekends for sure. I might check it in the morning and then I will not look again.
Yeah, I've tried to set my phone aside to where, especially in the evenings, because sometimes I can get lost in it and I'll find myself grabbing because I'm thinking of one thing.
Everyone's trained that now. It's like, psh, psh, grab that thing up.
Well, I think my brain has this, I'll think of something and I want to look it up, so I'll look it up, and the next thing I know, I'll get distracted with something, or I'll see something else, and then that pulls me away from it, and then halfway through, I'm like, wait a second, what was I trying to do?
Right, what was I initially looking
and then I'll just either set it down or I'll remember, and then I'm stuck on it even farther. So I try to set it away from me, and even if I see it going off or hear it buzzing or something like that, I kind of glance at it. And if it's somebody like you, I'd be like, okay, well, let me respond. But if it's, just like, hey, here's some news, I'm like, I try to have that mindset. Because I don't want to be on it all
trying
day.
to delete a lot of that stuff off of my phone since I'm home anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and I use my computer, which has helped me. Because then if it's not on my phone, I'm not hearing the alerts if I'm in a different room, and then it's not, bringing itself to the front of my mind, and then I can leave it alone. But I don't know if that's any different than sitting here on the computer and just mindlessly, scrolling through.
Meh.
But if I walk away, then I felt like I left it in here and it's done.
Yeah.
And I can walk away and do other things, and I won't get alerted throughout the day.
Right.
Anywho, game stuff maybe.
Yeah. What have you been playing?
Oh man, so this week I'm still doing Red Dead 2. I think I'm very close to the end of the story, and then I'll be done and content because I'm not going to go hunt all the things and get all the compendiums and stuff like that. Heck, I don't even think I found a full set of cards. Like, just whatever I found in my travels going out. I have like 3 of 12 in a lot of sets, but I'm like, that's a lot of searching, and I don't know. So I wanted to go on the stranger quests for sure. Like all the white storyline quests, and then go to the yellow bubbles when I was done. Did you do the brothers stranger quest? I
feel
actually
like I did
looked it
everything.
up because I wanted to make sure I finished the storyline because they were so funny to me. It was just, you came across these, I think they're brothers, twins maybe. Yes, they're twins, and they're trying to impress a lady friend. And so the first time I think it's in Valentine when I met them. And then they asked me to shoot bottles off of their head to impress the lady friend.
Yeah.
And then now do it while I'm on one leg and hopping around. I'm not scared, blah, blah. And so then ran into them again. But then they wanted me to punch them. So punch them in the face and then in the gut and then, right in the manhood. Boom, they wanted me to kick them there. And so I did all of that like a good cowboy, right?
Yeah, sure.
Like a good cowboy. They wanted it to prove how tough they were to their lady friend. And then so I wanted to make certain I finished that storyline because you just never know where they are until you just happen to run into their universe, I guess, close enough, and then you could start to see the dot. So I wanted to finish it. I guess there was only one more. So I went off to the top of the hills. And they got rolled down the waterfall in a bucket or in a barrel, I guess, actually a barrel. And then they saw the light and they're like, yeah, this is stupid, brother. You and we shouldn't be doing this. And then she's left all alone. And I'm like, womp, womp, So I'm searching those quests out because they're fun. And they're just little 2 or 3 things that you sit there and watch for a few minutes at a time. And then, you go on. So I might cheat and look up other stranger quests just to see if I've done as many as I could before I wrap up the storyline. Have
you encountered the serial killer? Because that was I'm
assuming that's different from the is it Murfreesboro gang or whatever? The cannibals? I think they're cannibals.
Was it cannibals? No, I feel like this is a serial killer.
I stayed the night near the trapper one night and then camping, and then these guys came out of the woods can't stay here. And then when I chased them down, I'd see people hanging in trees or something. So I think they're supposed to be cannibals, but I cleared out their cave now.
Maybe that's... Is that the same? I thought it was
Maybe
a serial killer.
not, though.
Okay, well, the quest essentially started...
There's a lot.
Yeah, because that was what I liked about it. It was one of those things you just come across. And
Yeah,
it was like,
exactly.
What is this?
You have to just be around it for you to notice it. Mm-hmm.
But I think it was right outside of Valentine near a cliff or something like that, or a bridge that you cross over, and then you see some blood, and you trace it down to a body, and then that leads you kind of on this quest where you start finding little clues and hints to someone being a serial killer. But that might be those people.
Maybe I didn't. I'll have to look. When I looked up just to make sure I was finishing the brothers quest, it looked like there was a couple of strangers quests you have to do before you get to chapter 4. Hopefully that's not one of them. I can go look, because then I guess after that too much has happened and it would have moved past it. And I'm pretty sure I'm almost done with 6. And to my understanding, there's only 6, and then there's I guess an outro or whatever. So that's why I think I'm just about done. So I'm trying to go back and do the things that I think I can. And when I see the little white dots pop up, I go to those. And then if I see a question mark in my travel, I'll go to those. Although I don't trust anyone crying out in the woods anymore.
No.
I go in with my gun already up. And what made me so mad about this one, I knew this chick was faking it. I knew it, man. She's just crying in the woods, and I knew it. And so, like, I tried to get all prepared. By the way, guys, I suck at, like, shooters and stuff like that. It takes me a minute to get oriented, especially with the joysticks. I'm like one of those that's going all over like this, trying to, like, even if I feel like I'm just barely moving the joystick, it feels like it jerks. And I'm like, well, you just fine tune just a little. But so I wanted to go in ready because I was like, I bet you she's just going to call out some people from the wood. And sure enough, stupid women, as soon as I come over there, I'm like, you know, what's wrong? And I had my gun ready because I just knew. Well, I'm so bad. They still got me anyway because I couldn't get like my gun out in enough time or do this, that, or the other. And so I was so mad because I knew. And then they stole like $100 from me. I was so pissed.
Yeah. You know, you talking about this game has made me want to play it again. And I know I
struck that with the hubs too. Now we're fighting for it again. I'm like, you didn't play it for years. And now I pick it up. No, I'm joking, but yeah.
But no, I'll just sit there and remember certain things about it or certain areas that I cross through all the time. And it was almost like I wanted to go visit this place again just to kind of, you know, reminisce.
It's a great game. I mean, I do have a lot of complaints about like just like the mechanics. I have to admit, like, some of it just bothers the piss out of me. Mm-hmm. And again, I don't know if that's attributed to me just not using a controller nearly as often. It's just like, he felt heavy. And the amount of times I've had to like readjust just so I can hit the button to pick up a thing pisses me off. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just like his momentum is so heavy. As soon as I stop, he just rolls right on past the triangle. And I'm like, no, turn around because we're trying to look at the piece of paper. And then I'll have to walk all the way back and then just like walk really slowly back up to the thing. So when the button comes up, I can hit it. Or all of a sudden now it's on something else. And I'm like, oh my God, can't I just hit R1 for everything so I can cycle through what's in front of me instead of making me try to reposition and then I end up on top of the bag of potatoes? Mm-hmm. So that's obnoxious to me. But outside of that, everything's so much fun. And I think I'm about to beat it. I took a day or so off so I could binge watch you. So I need to make sure I go back and play it because I'm so close. If I drop it again now, it would just be so silly. And then I went back and played Beholder because I was like, I was determined I could save everyone. I was like, all right, I read some tips. I'm just going to be a garbage landlord. I'm going to blackmail everyone. I'm going to put stuff in their apartment to blackmail them over. I'm going to make all the money that I think I can humanly possibly make. Because, like, it's there in the game, right? It has to be possible to save you both of your children and all this kind of stuff. And I got so proud of myself. I was like rocking it, man. Like, none of my tenants were happy, but that's not the point of this run. This run was to make all the money and save my child or children and hopefully wife in the process, you know, they always died or went away. And I got enough money to pay off the doctor. I was like, ooh. And it was the first time I ever had enough money to like save my adult son from getting kicked out of school. He was in college. And so I was like, here's the money you need for your semester. So I was like, yay. Hooray. And then totally forgot there was like a whole other section where they want like 30 grand to save her. And I'm like, but I think it's too far. I can't blackmail him on the same object again. And then I just shut it down. I was like, nope, I'm not starting this over. So I'm a little bitter. So we might come back to that in a minute. I needed a few days to rage quit it. Because I worked so hard blackmailing everyone with everything I could. And it still ended up 30K short. I was like, it's impossible. So I don't know. Anyway, what have you been playing? That was it.
Well,
that was all I played this week.
I'm going to say the main thing that I played, I didn't really play a lot this week. I'll just say that. The main thing I played, I'm going to talk about later. But I will say, just for the sake of having a little bit of fun talking about what I played this week, I played Super Mario World, which I know is not like, but it's the reason why is what's fun. Mm-hmm. My daughter Calliope just decided, hey, Dad, you want to play this game with me? You know, she'd found the Super Nintendo Online thing from the Switch archives, and she was just like, you want to play a game with me? You want to play a game with me? So we were looking through, and she found one that I'd forgotten that they'd added to that, which excited the hell out of me because I want to play it again. It's called Claymates, and I know I've talked about it on the show before. But she was looking for a 2-player game because that was only 1 player, and I was trying to help her play that. And then we went and found Super Mario World, and did a 2-player on that. She was Mario, I'm Luigi, and just back and forth, back and forth. And I'm trying to get her to understand the mechanics and how to play it proper, and I don't know. It's just fun, having that moment with her.
Nice little wholesome. Aw, I love that.
So she's she needs work, but she'll get there.
Well,
she'll get there.
Yeah. Got to start him somewhere.
I told her her biggest
Get her
problem.
started on the controller now, man, so she's not like me.
Her biggest problem right now is she doesn't have the. Well, I mean, I guess the Switch controllers. Well, it's how when you play a Mario game, you have to kind of use 2 buttons at the same time. You run and jump kind of simultaneously, so you're kind of using your thumb
across.
Yeah. So she's got to get used to that because right now she hasn't quite mastered the running,
and
jumping.
Her fingers
mechanic.
are probably so little.
But those buttons on the Switch controller are pretty little.
Oh, that's true. They are pretty close together.
Just give it time. She'll get there. I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really about all I played. I didn't really. I don't know if it's a matter of time. Just I don't know. I guess I had just really not been in the mood for anything.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
All right.
Once in a while, we got to take a break.
Yeah, and I'm in between games right now, so when I hit that in between, not sure what I want to play, it's just like,
Takes a minute before you get settled on one.
Yeah.
I feel that. Like I said, I took a little bit of a break, so I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to binge watch TV, man.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. So hey, what do you got in the way of news?
Yes, news. Not a lot, but big news. Big news this week. So let's just start it off with the biggest news here. We had quite a bit more of a bombshell week for Activision Blizzard. Within days after the last pod, all of this was just coming right out. So the Activision Blizzard news, of course, amped up again this week following an article published by the Wall Street Journal. Talking about how Bobby Kotick really has known about a lot of these issues plaguing the company for years. The article, fairly long. If you can read it, I do recommend it. I know it's paywalled, but I wanted to read it from the source. The article just started off talking about, and we're going all the way back. So this thing kind of like covered over the several years and showing how like Bobby knew all of the problems and how long it actually had been going on, which was when you start seeing things dating back to 2007. Good God, so the article in this case started off talking about an email that Bobby received in July of 2018. The email was from a lawyer from a former employee at Sledgehammer Games, which is a studio under the Activision banner, alleging that their client was sexually assaulted in 2016 and 17 by her male supervisor after she had been pressured to drink too much alcohol at an office work event. The female employee reported the incidents to Sledgehammer's HR and other supervisors, according to this article, but nothing happened. So according to the email, and threatened a lawsuit on the company as like nothing happened. What are you going to do? Within months, Activision Blizzard reached out an out-of-court settlement with the woman who had also reported it to the police, and nothing had happened according to this. And the kicker for this year is Mr. Kotick did not bother to inform the board of directors about this at all. Which is coming from like people who wanted to remain anonymous and in the know on the matter. And then there's other documents like memos, emails, regulatory requests, interviews with former employees that show Kotick knew about this behavior within the company and kept all of it hidden for a very long time. Some departing employees who were accused of misconduct were praised on their way out, as they pointed out in this article, while others were just kind of asked to be silent on the matter, probably just gave them a payday and told them to shut up. But interestingly, on the same day, the Wall Street Journal article came a message from Bobby himself in a video form to his employees. Now, granted, I read a transcript because I don't want to look at his frickin' face, but it was a video message to the company's employees. And so a couple of highlights from that, of course. It's not a very long post that he put out. In fact, it's not even like a full page worth for the transcript. So that wanted to point out they've taken meaningful actions to improve the company and culture. But there is more to do, he acknowledges. To become the model workplace we all aspire to be, more change is required. So I'm confident we'll get there. Another thing that I noticed in there, second thing I want to say is that anyone who doubts my conviction to be the most welcoming, inclusive workplace doesn't really appreciate how important this is to me. So making it your fault if you're perceiving it this way.
Well, ain't that some gaslighting right there, huh? Anyway, continue.
At least that's how it felt to me. And then, one other point that I kind of highlighted out here over the last few years, our industry has had an uncomfortable spotlight that's been illuminating opportunities for us to change. Sure. And we must all, including me, embrace this need for change so we can bring our very best selves to be the very best place to work. Thank you for your commitment to a culture of respect, your appreciation for the unique talents we possess, and for maintaining the very best environment for all of us to work. For that, I'm truly grateful. Bossman CEO. I don't know. I feel like, didn't this come after they said, hey, you could have the whole week off for Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Paid.
Oh, the whole week. How about that? I'm glad that they
could. A little ahead of the article.
Yeah. Glad they could have time off to see their families on holiday.
Like the whole week paid off. I'm sure that was like, oh, well, this is coming out. Let's maybe get them out of the offices because they'll probably walk out anyway.
Mm-hmm.
They did.
They did.
Oh, this is just a small chunk.
Because Bobby Kotick is a piece of gutter trash. And he knew. He knew. His past behavior, you cannot convince me otherwise. He is a enabler. He's a rapist. I'll stand by that stuff. I don't care.
Oh, this one you're going to have to buckle in for, guys, because that's just a tip of what came out this week, really, throughout this article and other things that were broken down. And agreed. We all knew he was garbage. Now it seems like we're seeing more piling on top of that. And remember how we discussed Jen O'Neill, who was the first woman to lead one of the company's business units, was stepping down, of course. And the Wall Street Journal article reports that Jen professed in an email to a member of Activision's legal team that, quote, it was clear that the company would never prioritize our people in the right way. So in that same email, yeah, so Jen's like, I'm starting to, probably never started, by the way. I think she, well, not think, flat out said, realized what, Activision was doing with putting her up at the top. Because in that same email, Jen admitted she had also been, unfortunately, sexually harassed earlier in her career there at Activision. And we reported last week that she was paid less than her male counterparts. She also said that she felt she had been tokenized, marginalized, and discriminated against, referring to her being Asian and gay, of Asian descent and gay, which I didn't know those things until this came out. Jen went on to describe a party that she went to in 2017 in which apparently invited scantily clad women to dance on stripper poles. Not a huge deal, but a work office event. I mean... and then the DJ apparently at this party was very encouraging of the female members to drink overly so the men could have a good time at these parties.
Sure.
And of course, Bobby says he does not remember this party. So I guess I have to say allegedly because, to be quote unquote fair. Then the article goes on to talk about how Bobby is the one who approves these high profile hiring decisions and the exit and pay packages of these star quote unquote developers and is typically aware of major issues within the 12 studios that are currently under Activision leadership. But then there's this Miss Klasky, who I guess is the spokesperson for this whole thing over on their side, said that he generally isn't involved in hiring, compensation, or termination decisions for most employees. So we have this direct conflict here that's saying, well, he does from people in the know, but the spokesperson's like, but no, not really. but they kind of give an example of why that's bull. An example that was given was Dan Bunting, who was the co-head of Activision's Treyarch studio, was accused by a female employee of sexually harassing her in 2017. After a night of drinking, of course, Activision's HR and other supervisors launched an investigation internally in 2019 and recommended he be fired. But good old Mr. Kotick intervened, you see. Mr. Bunting, who led Treyarch through the production of a few Call of Duty titles, was given counseling and allowed to remain at the company. So Mr. Bunting apparently never responded to requests for comment, according to the Wall Street Journal. Like, they supposedly reached out, never heard back, but apparently left the company after the Wall Street Journal asked about the incident. It keeps going. The supervisor at Sledgehammer Games, we kind of have another example here of this, also accused, who was identified as Javier Panameno, and the victim's lawyer said she had that he had sexually harassed a second woman at the studio. And then the incident was reported to police in 2017. No charges again were brought. Apparently, Activision fired him 2 months later, but reportedly he got away with it because their stories didn't line up.
What?
She admits to being too intoxicated to remember exactly the recollections, which seems to be a very common theme here, is just to make sure that they're so overly intoxicated that it's easy to poke holes in their story, I suppose. And of course, Panameno declined to comment to the Wall Street Journal about it. But Javier apparently at the time was now worked at Zynga Inc. When the story dropped, to which Zynga launched their own internal investigation after the journal reached out for comment. And now he just resigned, interestingly. But nothing was probably wrong there.
Sure.
My God, it keeps going, guys. There was another Sledgehammer employee. It's just like going through, it's so ridiculous, was also accused of the same thing. So like in this article, they start pointing out like even more instances where it got to him and they would just get like these amazing packages and keep it swept under the rug and let him go out the door. Siblings. Bobby finally got accused himself even in this article. Like, because this whole time there was no one saying specifically he did a thing, just knew about the things, right?
Sure.
But in 2006, one of his assistants complained that he had harassed her, including threatening to kill her in a voicemail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But of course, you know, his lawyers, it was hyperbolic. He apologized. Of course, like he wasn't planning to do that, blah, blah. Like,
I don't give a damn. Even if you get angry and you say, I'm going to kill you, that's a threat. Because you don't know how true that is or not. Hyperbolic
especially
or otherwise.
from someone with that much like power, obviously, in this situation.
Right.
And the history of the company.
No, he's done a hell of a lot worse than what they've gathered here or whatever. I just, God, burn it down.
They do go on for more. I'm with you there. Like, I just like, the more I kept reading through this and going through different pieces and gathering more stuff, just like my blood was boiling. Like, same thing with a flight attendant, apparently, on a private jet
Big
that
surprise.
he co-owned. She complained actually about the pilot harassing her, but then she was the one who would get, taken out of the equation here, not him.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently that was settled out of court as well. That pretty much catches you up to now. There is a lot more that was shown. It was a pretty long article, so obviously I'm giving smaller notes. So if you want the whole broad scope, if you can, find the actual article. But it brings us up to now, which we've been reporting on it. And when the article came out, over 1,000 plus Activision employees walked out, demanding the resignation of Bobby Kotick. And last I found, even this morning, before recording, the board still seems to be backing the sleazeball for now. The company, the employees are not. A good amount of shareholders are not. the shareholders are actually asking for more than just Bobby. They want Brian Kelly and Robert Morgado to also retire by December 31st because they've been there since... God, where did I write it down now? I'm trying to look for it. Like, they're just the longest standing people that have been there since 95 with Kelly and 97 with Morgado. So they're all kind of like, I think all of them just needs to resign.
Yeah, because you can't tell me they've been there that long and they don't know anything about this. Bull.
Right. 100 at this point for me. Like we've been saying a long time ago before we even realized all of this. Whole top down just needs to go, and it has to be I don't even know how you would repair the minds of these people. You would just have to start them all over. So you think all hope is lost because the board wants to keep them. My only hope, and I still don't know how this is going to shake out, which brings us to how other companies are now viewing their own relationship that they've held with Activision Blizzard. Namely, Jim Ryan spoke with Sony and Phil Spencer spoke out with Xbox about how they might be reevaluating their relationship with this company moving forward in response to seeing how the CEO has been basically an enabler this whole time.
I really
and so
hope...
unfortunately, we know money is the only thing that makes these things move.
Yeah. I'm really hoping that the pushback from Sony and even Microsoft can possibly start to shake things up a little bit.
Because like Call of Duty Xbox are like a match made in heaven, right? Like I know it's more like a Halo thing, but I feel like I know more people who play that on that platform, and I just be my own personal experience. But regardless, they both express their own concern about how this is bullshit.
Yeah, from a business standpoint, they cannot be. I mean, to be associated with that company in any way, even though they're just developing games for the system, doesn't matter. You're supporting that whole culture by allowing this. Put your foot down, deny them any sales on that platform, and see how long that lasts until change is made. They have the influence.
Sure, and I mean, Microsoft kind of has both sides with the console and the PC, if they wanted to go that far. I mean, granted, the PC, we can still use other things like Steam and all that kind of stuff to get it to work. But, like, you got Sony and Microsoft. That's your console market, basically. Like, I know you could put on the Switch, but let's...
Yeah, I know.
Are you? So, I feel like that was a very brief overview. And it went on for a while, right?
It did,
like,
yeah.
I feel like I talked about it for like a half an hour, and that's just a very brief overview of what came out this week. So I'm just kind of the mind, you and I have discussed this before, it's going to have to be more shareholders. Because like while it to show a lot of shareholders, still a percentage of it within the entire scope of things wasn't enough. So when I saw like some shareholders, then Jim Ryan, then Phil Spencer, that's the only thing I think that could work is you're just going to have other companies that use their influence in this way that could cause change for the board to get off his...
Even if he retires.
What is a kind way? I know there's plenty of kind ways to say. But
I hope it's more than just a resignation for that piece of shit, because something tells me he'll just resign when his back is against the wall.
And he'll get a whole golden parachute that makes him just set up for everything. And yeah, he'll just be in a better position than he was somehow.
Yep. He's like, well, now I have all my billions and don't have to worry about all this crap anymore. So what does it matter? And then I can just sit around and watch people starve to death and, people struggling to work at a job that you could have definitely cut your salary for to give them a decent living wage.
Oh, by so much.
But
so much.
No, you have to hoard all the wealth because, you're a prick and a rapist.
But he's CEO, man. He makes things right.
I don't care. Burn it.
Burn it all. I know. I just really hope the bad thing of this is like if they all go down, I just would hate to see all those developers lose their jobs, which is why I would rather see like hopefully a decent human insert themselves in and take over and can actually create meaningful change with just brand new leadership. This is just going to have to be a wait and see. Will enough money get, I think, threatened around for the board to finally turn? And who knows, by the time we push this out, The board may have turned. I don't know.
Yeah.
But just know at the time we recorded, I couldn't find anything that was the board going, yeah, bad Bobby. We can move on. Let's try to go to a happier topic. I don't know if it'll make you happy or not. A little bit more on the GTA nonsense with the trilogy. You can buy it now on PC. Yay.
Yay, I guess.
There you go. Yeah. I had to look through this a little bit more because through the week, everything, when you started to see more of like the AI upscaling. And I know some people were trying to defend Rockstar because they were like, you do know Grove Street Games did this, but did they look?
Yeah, no.
They put their name on it. Like, I hear you. It doesn't help me think any less of the situation. But to be fair, fine, you're right. I know a different company supposedly did this whole thing, right? So, yeah. So I guess they finally put out a statement. Rockstar, after all this time, it took forever for them to admit like something really wrong was here outside of their launcher, just like not working. But they did finally sort of address the whole thing with an update to address the unexpected tech issues at unexpected. Like, who looked at it?
Nobody.
Like, why was it unexpected? Oh, I laughed so hard at that. I highlighted it. I was so angry at unexpected. What? Anyway,
Have you seen?
Nobody played it. Apparently.
Have you seen the bug montages on YouTube that you can find?
Oh my God, so many. It's like it's gotten ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like initially, it was more like, oh, they look dumb because they look like little bubble people, and then I saw people falling through the earth, how they swim. Like he just moves like a bobble in and out of the water instead of just like, I mean, cars.
The runaway
floating?
cars are what excited or they invoked some sort of joy out of me because it was just some guy to be sitting there talking and all of a sudden out of nowhere this car just comes flying through and knocks them clear out of the. It's like, what is happening?
I saw one driving like this above the road, like front headlights facing the road, trunk facing the sky, and just driving along like that. Or someone was driving and just hit an invisible car. Like there was nothing in front of them, but it made like the crash, like they hit a car, but you couldn't see a car. Oh my God. But the ones that are just like really kill me is like the 9 over the 7, like on the dude's jersey. Why wouldn't you just put a new 7?
I don't know.
Like I don't like some of the choices are like, why was that what you tried to do?
Has this company ever done anything before
They've
this?
done a lot of mobile ports because like I went to their website because I wanted to see, I was like, what are they really known for? And most of it was a chunk of ports to mobile, iOS and Android. And I saw that they did Ark apparently to mobile, Bully Anniversary Edition to mobile, and other GTA games besides this trilogy to mobile. It looked like they had some other ones, but it doesn't look like it was like a whole host of history of going from mobile to but again, why are you using the mobile port to upscale? I'm so confused by this whole thing and how it got the green light and why it's considered definitive. I have so many questions. But yeah, I guess my whole point was you can buy it now. Cool. On PC. They put it back up. They have a new update that's supposed to be coming out to address this. I don't know if it'll address all of it because it seems like they need to just start over. But they will address some like animation problems. And, like for some of them where it looked like their bones were like 12 places when their arms should have only had like the one, So apparently like stuff like that will be fixed. I don't know how you're going to improve the look of the character models. Like, I think that's just how it is.
You had to have started from scratch to do that.
Or use the PC already. Maybe I'm talking stupid here. I don't know. There might be a developer listening right now that's like, Lace, you have no idea how this works from where that could be fair. But I feel like why wouldn't you just use the already PC version and try to make it a better PC version or an already console version and make that I don't know. Siblings, am I ignorant? Is that not how it can work at all? It just seems like an AI upscaling of the mobile port would have just not even been a thought to entertain. Like if I were Rockstar, I'd have been like, but why the mobile version? Maybe I just sounded completely dumb. I don't know. But they apologized, recognized the game did not come out holding their own standards of quality, and the ones, of course, that fans expected. They have plans to address the issues and to improve each of the games moving forward, and have planned updates. So while one of the goals of the Definitive Edition was to allow players to enjoy these games on modern platforms for many years to come, we also understand that some of you would like to have the previous classic versions for purchase. So as a reparation for your trouble, it sounds like Rockstar will add back the classic versions of GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas to the Rockstar store. So you won't be able to buy it like on Steam or anything like that. But it will be offered as a bundle. There you go. And they're like, we screwed up the new version. Okay, you want to play the old one so you can have a game to play? Yeah. So here you go. I didn't.
How does that fix anything?
This whole thing is so funny to me. I'm sorry. Additionally, anyone who bought the Definitive Edition for PC from Rockstar through June 30th, 2022 will receive these classic versions in the launcher library for free.
Okay,
so for your trouble, you can get those for free if you bought it through June 30th.
Still not good enough, but whatever.
I think they should just have offered refunds, and maybe they did in some situations, and it just didn't make.
When do we ever see refunds in the gaming? I mean, it's a rare sight.
It is a rare sight. Well, Steam's pretty good at it, but you have to be within their rules. But yeah, it is rare. It's very rare. So GTA Trilogy 1.02 update should be coming soon with a bunch of fixes.
We'll see.
And apparently we'll fix that nauseating rain, which is, I was looking through because the patch notes are freaking long already. So I was trying to go through what's important, so the rain I feel is a big one to everyone to note that they will fix that from how many people got sick? I don't know that I could have played that. I really don't. Yeah, all in all though, it just seems like modders are like, hey, F you, we got this.
Yeah.
Honestly, the list of fixes is pretty long if you want to go check it out. But we'll see, I guess, how it ends up after the fix. At least put it more playable. Still look weird, I think. Which has also had gamers express they're terrified now for them to do 4. Yeah. And I don't blame you. I don't blame you now. Maybe we should not use the mobile port. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Somebody tell me if I'm being a complete idiot by trying to use that as a point. Just let me know. Please stop. That's not how it works at all. Next story. Only because I love it when cheaters get their comeuppance. It's kind of fun for me. So I found this one interesting, and I don't even play these games, but Call of Duty.
Okay.
One of those game franchises that's seen its fair share or more of cheaters over the years. Well, the consequences are going to get up tier, it sounds like, or at least they're going to give it a shot and see what happens here. So in a post titled Ricochet Anti-Cheat Progress Report, which is COD's Team Ricochet, it's their anti-cheat division or whatever, they're people that do that, revealed some updates to their anti-cheating policy. Kind of controversial. I don't know that I care in those. Let's read. We'll see. So one of the biggest surprises is that the persistent cheaters who get permanently banned from Vanguard, their new one, face being permabanned from the entire Call of Duty series.
Ooh.
That doesn't just include the 20 plus COD games we have now, where applicable, but also future titles. Banned from COD forever. So I thought this was very interesting to see how this would shake out. There will always be ways, of course, for cheaters to figure out how to circumvent such bans like they've done. But the post does add that any attempt to hide, disguise, or obfuscate your identity or the identity of your hardware devices may also result in a permanent suspension. Ultimately, it shows the extremes they're willing to go to fight the cheating problem plaguing so many gamers.
That's pretty bold.
Forever. You are done. Fini. You like Call of Duty? Too bad.
It's... Like they said, yeah, people are going to
console, right?
You think so?
Well, I don't know how they
something
find
tells
out,
me
where your shit's coming from.
Something tells me they'll find a way to track this down, console or not.
Yeah.
And it's funny, too, coming from Call of Duty, of all games. You know what I'm saying? Like
I think with their online, because like most of these games are usually just played as a live service these days. So if you're constantly cheating for ranks and I mean, whatever it is you get through all of that, yeah, it can be frustrating.
Well, I mean, this is exactly why I don't play online, is things like this. Because why bother? Someone's already going to be cheating. They're going to be climbing their way through. So everything that I do is going to be for nothing. So who's to say that the hundreds of people in front of me aren't cheating their way to the top? Not saying they are.
I guess there's easier ways to detect it. I just don't play them enough to know. Like when you can tell there's a bot or there's a whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious. Do you think that's too extreme?
I don't know. I mean, I think, you know what? I feel like
it brings a smile to my face.
I'm kind of on the stance that why not? Because if you're going to put a stop to this stuff, start being vicious about it. So, no, let's try this. Let's give it a go. See if it cuts down.
If nothing else, maybe it'll scare some people from trying.
Right.
You know, like they're like, I don't know. But if you're smart enough to know how to do all that stuff, you probably already know how to circumvent these things. I don't know. Yeah, I was like, I know a lot of people thought it was extreme, but I'm like, but do you think it's extreme because you want to?
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know these people from Adam or Eve, you know, when I'm reading their posts online. But I often wonder, I'm like, is it because you do it and you don't want to get banned? I don't know. I think it's glorious. I'm one of those that I love when I see companies do like the shit to cheaters. That's so over the top. Granted, it's Activision, so whatever at this point.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of lovely, and I'm interested to see how this would even work out. I feel like they could work their way around it, but you would probably lose all of your progress, right? I should probably look into the nefarious mind more so I understand how this all works.
Yeah, I mean, someone's going to try. I'm kind of on the Call of Duty Ricochet, I'm on their side right now. I want to see this happen.
I want to see how it works, and I hope it does. And then just stop cheating. Play the damn game. Or
if you suck,
buy
you
the
suck.
Stuff. Right.
You know?
Like, I admit when I suck, it's fine. But I don't play multiplayer games, so I don't have to have other people mad at me when I suck.
There are a lot of games that I enjoy playing that I'm probably not as good as I think I am. Like Mortal Kombat. I love playing Mortal Kombat. But if I was to go one-on-one with some of these people that play like all the time, there's no way I'm going to beat them. I'm as good as I can be good.
Like everything memorized?
Yeah.
Like, how do you memorize all those moves? It's like 12 button presses per move.
Decades ago, I had it down. Like Mortal Kombat 2, I remember knowing every fatality for every character at every moment. Now, I don't know.
You know, I might have then. I feel like I remembered a lot more then than I do now, because a lot of things will just go into our phone and then we never have to think about them ever again. So we're not working our brain anymore to remember a damn thing.
No, I had a magazine I was reading and memorizing at all times. So it was just... Right. It was always there.
Like, maybe I did. I can't remember because it was too long ago. That's it for big news. Move on to a few quickets here. Let's see. Saints Row reboot's been delayed. I'm sure you saw that. It got moved to August 2022. As they expressed that they just underestimated the impacts of COVID and working from home. So it was initially supposed to be February, so now to August. So not terrible, but a little bit of a push.
I'm okay with it.
A little bit of a push. And then Sifu actually moved their release date up to avoid releasing on the same day as Elden Rings, and actually I can respect that. Because the hype for Elden Rings has been real. So, but good news is you can get it a week earlier now, or a couple weeks earlier. So it was initially February 22nd, 2022. Now February 8th for a Sifu release. So I know we were looking forward to checking that one out. So a little bit earlier. That's news we don't usually get.
Yeah.
They move up their release date, so that's cool. Ubisoft is making a theme park.
Why?
They want to be the first Ubisoft Entertainment Center.
So
at Studios Occitanie, Mediterranean, France. I know I said all of that horribly wrong, and I apologize. There's probably people who speak the language are like, oh my God, that sounded awful. But it's close to their Montpellier studios, and we'll have a game franchise, attractions, you know, probably all of your favorite characters and costumes running around.
Sexual harassment area?
Maybe, because they can't get rid of that either over there on their side. Maybe that. And more. I don't know. But there, it's set to open in 2025, so we have a little bit of time to forget about it and then go, oh yeah, in a few years. Yeah. So that's a vacation for you, I guess.
I guess. You know, groped in the grotto, right? Anyway.
God, AAA is so garbage anymore. I feel like I can't stick to indies. Anyway. Xbox is celebrating 20 years. Oh my God, 20 years, Steven.
20 years.
20 years.
Has it been that long?
It really has.
It has.
Oh my God. But they're doing some really cool stuff for it, though. With the celebration comes the new addition of 76 new games added to the backwards compatibility roster. They launched a Halo-themed Xbox Series X and a 20th anniversary translucent controller. Actually, they did kind of look cool.
Yeah.
Their themed consoles are actually kind of cool looking. I don't know. I've never had a themed console, but they look cool.
Yeah.
And if you are a longtime Xbox fan, because I will miss all of these, there's plenty of Easter eggs. Plenty of Easter eggs from like the last 20 years of being in the Xbox ecosystem. So that could be fun for you if you're an Xboxer.
I guess.
But some of the things that they listed off, which I would totally miss, but if you're an Xbox fan, will probably notice right away, that some people noted that the Zeta Halo symbol was on the front of the console with the use of a black light or UV light to see it. So that's kind of neat. And also shining the same light on like the controller packaging. You'll see the OG Duke controller that came with their original Xbox in 2001. And the teases just kind of go on and on. So I guess if you have like a black light and stuff, you could just kind of search all over your new stuff and find even more Easter eggs that you might recognize. And the teases just go on. So another console to try to buy.
Yay!
On eBay for 3 times the price the next day. But yeah, so there's tons of fun stuff coming out from that. I guess all year long has been. And this one I just mentioned because I thought it was great. Phil Spencer too believes we should have legal game emulation, and I'm here for that. I don't know if he's doing anything about it. One of those, I think, fluff pieces with an interview with Phil Spencer. But he expressed hope for preserving the older titles and making them available to play on newer hardware to the best that they can, of course, you know. So I'm with that. He says he's down for like to play older games on PC as backwards compatibility for consoles have been kind of non-existent till now. They've tried it in the past. It's never really worked. Positive movement in favor of game preservation, though. And when I see a corporation, whatever reason it is, like on the side of that, I kind of get a little excited where I'm like, okay. Because I think they should be preserved like you would old films or books or any kind of art, you know? Like preserve its roots. I don't know. And then not get mad at us for emulating it when it's a game you totally can't even buy anymore. Like it's done, it's over. Your sales are not going to happen. So just let us play it.
Yeah.
Play it. Most of the companies might even be gone, so they probably couldn't even sue. I don't know. Again, probably sounding like an idiot, but yay! I'm for legal game emulation when it comes to older titles that you just straight up can't buy anymore.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, exciting for me. Ryu I can't ever say the studio behind Yakuza and Judgment. Let's just say that. All right. Is working on a new IP. And I get excited when I hear about new IPs. And I loved those games and how they tell stories. So let's see. Right? They were, it was in Famitsu magazine. Right?
Right.
Studio director. Masayoshi Yokoyama, I think that's actually pretty good, reportedly revealed that the studio is currently playing a game separate from the Yakuza or Judgment series, while the sequel to Yakuza Like a Dragon has already been confirmed, though. So they got like a lot of stuff going on. The future of the Judgment franchise is, well, that's kind of in flux. I didn't realize this. The dispute is actually with the lead actor Takuya Kimura's talent agency.
Okay.
that in July, Japanese showbiz news site Nikon Taishu claimed that sources had indicated the actor's talent agency had been blocking PC versions of the game because he didn't want them to appear in them because they own his likeness.
Huh?
I'm so disturbed by this that I'm not sure how to take it. And like, if somebody actually knows a little bit more about like how that works over there, let me know or point me in the right direction, because this is kind of frightening to me. Like as an old artist, as an old actor. The site suggests that because Johnny and Associates, quote, has strict control over the likeness rights of its talents, and the use of their image online is still limited to a few. The agency may be treating PC games differently because home computers have direct access to the internet. Whereas like the console, like, well, I mean, kind of, but you're not. I don't know. So I guess that's the reason why we haven't really been seeing them come to PC like they've tried. So the report claims that Sega has been trying to bring Judgment and Lost Judgment to Steam, but because the agency is blocking this from happening, it may draw a line under the series after Lost Judgment. So frightening to me. Like, you're just going to block your own talent?
Yeah.
How would you not be making money off the sale as the talent agency?
Why is this game like embroiled in controversy after controversy?
True. Wasn't this the same one where they had to like refilm because the one dude was on cocaine or something? Yeah. I don't understand. I don't know.
It's weird.
Right? But I'm so... I just can't understand that why a talent agency would be hiding its talent. I need to look into that more to understand how their talent agencies, I guess, work over there.
Yeah.
Like, I understand owning certain things that they did under your banner, but to own my face? I don't know, man. Anyway, that's actually all I have.
All right.
For the quick hits and everything. I think that worked out great, looking at the time.
Well, I've actually got one that you didn't bring up.
Oh, good.
I just remembered did you see the announcement for Multiverses?
Kinda, yeah. I didn't. Go ahead.
Warner Brothers is doing its own
with the rabbits.
its own fighting game because we were all wanting to see Bugs Bunny and Batman go at it.
I mean, no, yeah,
you know,
I tried
because
tried for a minute.
That's what it was.
And Superman
and Tom and Jerry and that kid from Adventure Time. I'm sure somebody's yelling, "What? You don't know his name?" I never watched it. I'm sorry.
What was it?
The kid from Night Trap. Jesus Christ. Adventure Time.
I was like looking at a list just now to see if I could.
I'm sure Rick and Morty are in there somewhere.
Is this the one with the shirtless Shaggy?
Shaggy. Yeah, Shaggy's in there.
Why shirtless though? Because that one I'm like, but why that choice?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to ask questions anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a thing that's happening. Let's move on because I just wanted to bring it up while I was there.
I mean, it's voiced by Matthew Lillard, right?
Yeah, I mean everybody's coming back for their voices and stuff like that, which is cool. You know,
good to see
not knocking it.
doing stuff.
So hey,
yeah,
we've been talking for the last couple of weeks.
Leaving me on cliffhangers, man.
I know,
it's
and
rude.
I'm not going to disappoint again today because I've also got another cliffhanger. But that doesn't, yeah. But hey, it's an extended story. If I gave it to you all at once, you'd have nothing next week or the week after. But last week we talked about Sega versus Nintendo, the whole Mortal Kombat fiasco, and what would kind of be the beginnings of the Senate hearings that led to the thing that we're leading to. But I stopped short of talking about one other important game to be featured in those hearings. And while I would love to go into the history of Night Trap, I'm only going to scratch the surface because there's a more interesting story here with an unreleased piece of hardware that seems ahead of its time despite its approach. Okay. And maybe you don't know about this. Maybe none of you know about this. I'm sure some of you do, but You got to know
Well, I
your
hope I
history.
don't.
Yeah, because I didn't know about this. You know, it was kind of an interesting discovery as I'm
during
reading
that
into
time,
it.
Night Trap, Mortal Kombat. That's all I can ever remember. People getting all pissy about in the courts.
And for our audience, real quick, before I go on, I apologize for any noise you may be hearing in the background. My God, my road is apparently being used as a drag strip today by every loud ass car.
Makes you feel better.
Anyway, going back to the early 1980s, we're going to focus on Tom Zito, Rob Fulop, and James Riley. Now, starting with Zito, he was initially a journalist for several publications, but eventually wound up working for Axelon, or Axelon. Yeah, there is no E or I in there between the X and the L. It's Axelon. Axelon.
Okay. Yeah.
Axelon just sounds better, but Axelon is the appropriate. Anyway, this was a consumer company, consumer electronics company. We're going to have one of these days. Founded by Atari co-founder Nolan Bushnell. Fulop also worked at Axelon, while Riley was working with Bushnell on an interactive retail campaign. So all these people kind of worked for the same guy, just in different segments of his companies and holdings and whatnot. So just so you're aware. Mm-hmm. Now, one day, Riley contacted Fulop about a new technology that had been presented to Zito that utilized what was described as kind of a wafer attached to a VCR, but you could interact with the video cartridge. Now, that just doesn't make sense. Like, how do you interact with a video cartridge, you know? I mean, how does that work? It's an oddity, especially if you know how VHS works.
Okay, go ahead. I was like, I know some games that we played like that, but you don't. Anyway, I don't want to.
Now, this form of interactivity intrigued the trio, so they began scrambling to figure out what they could do with this. But first things first, you got to name it, okay? You always have to name your thing before you do it. And they decided, for now, they would name it NEMO. Why NEMO?
Okay.
Well, NEMO was an acronym. Never, ever mention outside.
Oh, okay.
Just so you're aware.
Just so I know.
And, you know, shh, don't tell anybody about this VHS
Move outside
thing.
Yeah.
Now, at this point in time, Laserdisc technology was fairly new, and Dragon's Lair was that one game that had been built around it. VHS was becoming more commonplace and more affordable, so the idea became to bring the multi-track capabilities of an optical media like Laserdisc and CD-ROM to VHS. Even though, if you know how the mediums work, it doesn't seem...
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't add up.
Because, you know, CD and Laserdisc you get.
Film,
it's a thing.
Yeah, like...
But VHS is one beginning to end. You remember having to stick them in the rewinder.
You had to rewind and wait until it was done.
I gotta wait on this.
You had to wait.
God. So to have the technology to do something like that, but on VHS, seemed ideal and interesting, making interactive movies the wave of the future. However, anyone familiar, as we were just talking about, with VHS, you're probably scratching your head going, how the fuck would that even be possible?
Yeah.
We'll get there. Excited by this prospect, Zito immediately took the idea to Hasbro, whom he'd collaborated with in his marketing role at Axelon. Fulop and Riley focused more on forming the game concept. Riley had this idea of a free roaming environment, an idea that seems pretty commonplace today, like nothing new today. But the duo became inspired by a stage play called Tamara, which had recently opened in Los Angeles. Now, the play's premise and structure were wholly unique in that it involved the audience beyond mere spectators. So the play was performed throughout 13 different rooms in which parallel stories were being told simultaneously, all because the audience could choose their story path in which they wanted to see.
fun.
So some people would go one way, other people would go
Sure.
another way, and they could continue the story they wanted to see it.
I love that.
Yeah. That concept became the basis of their idea. They soon began working on a prototype called Scene of the Crime, which was a 5-minute demo that allowed the player to observe a group of characters through a house via surveillance cameras and determine which character is responsible for stealing a stash of money. The demo, along with the pitch of the technology itself, was shown to the CEO of Hasbro and a number of executives, all of which approved the idea and put their full support behind it. From there, Philip and Riley began working on a fully developed idea around that concept. A script was put together, and a team spent the next 6 months filming and programming this idea. The film footage was shot in 16 days and came together quite well, albeit with a few issues. Now it became a task of figuring out how to make this project work. Because, we still got that technology thing we got to figure out. Concurrently, the NEMO console was still being worked out as well. As I hinted earlier, VHS and interactivity weren't exactly,
Right.
They didn't go hand in hand.
They didn't talk to each other like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Mainly because, as we've mentioned, tape is linear. Discs, you can index your data and you can go from transition because that's the way it works. Tapes, rewound, fast forward. Even to find an index point, it has to search on the tape.
Right.
So this is going to take a lot longer than a few seconds to transition after your choice. So,
Just sell a board game with like 12 VHS tapes in it.
Yeah.
And you have to just pop in a new one when you make your choice.
So the team found an alternate solution to using interlaced video. Or using interlaced video. Now, if that doesn't sound familiar, get out from under your rock. No. It's a method using 2 fields of video frame captured consecutively, which then enhances the perceived motion. Are you following?
Like a cartoon?
No, maybe.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
No, say it again. Maybe I'm just not understanding.
let me break it down, the science behind it. Maybe it didn't quite lay it out like that.
So, like, interlaced tape is where you stopped, right? Like what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
They're going to use interlaced video. Okay? So, during this point in time, cathode ray tube televisions could be manipulated to showcase half of a video signal. Okay? So the team would put 2 streams of video onto a tape in 2 separate fields that the console would then play back as designated with an ID code by alternating frames. So
Interesting.
you'd have one side of the interlaced video showing one thing, the other side showing another thing, and since the human eye can only perceive so much, and half a frame at 1/60th of a second, you're not going to notice.
Interesting.
It's hardly noticeable to our eyes, and it worked. No one could tell. It was like, so it worked.
Huh.
Now, the team was close to finalizing their console and even had a second game lined up called Sewer Shark, ready to launch with it. In 1988, Hasbro was set to launch the Control Vision to the public.
Ooh.
Yes. However, mere weeks before that launch, Hasbro pulled the plug, and Control Vision never saw the light of day.
Aw.
Now, while I couldn't find an exact reason why, sources suggest that the rise of CD-ROMs made Hasbro see Control Vision as an already obsolete piece of hardware. Something that I would kind of disagree with given this period in time. Because in the 80s, CDs still kind of had about 7 or 8 years before they really kind of just blew up.
That's true. It's more like mid-90s, right? Like early mid. Yeah.
Because I remember when CDs came out, I wasn't necessarily buying them. But around 1997, it was almost like, all right, now I've really transitioned.
That's kind of what you had to do because everything had transitioned to CD, basically.
Yeah, it was. We were getting there. But I mean, like I said, VHS still kind of had a solid decade or more before it would kind of lose its luster. And even in saying that, the appearance...
Blockbuster was still around.
Yeah, right?
You know?
How long did it take them to adopt DVDs
Yeah, I mean, we
and
still
such?
got one lonely one hanging out, I think.
But even as I say that about VHS, the appearance of the TurboGrafx CD that same year pretty much changed the landscape going forward. And something tells me that Hasbro kind of had a heads up on that, and they were like, nope, we don't need to do this because Now everyone involved was understandably upset by this move from Hasbro. Mark Turmel, the senior creative director and studio manager of Zigna, you know that mobile thing with the dog, Zigna? They got mobile games.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. He'd been involved with the development of several projects for Control Vision, and he lamented that while some of these projects were fortunate enough to see the light of day, one he regrets seeing shelved was an FMV Police Academy game.
Yes!
Apparently, there were hours of footage filmed featuring the mainstays of the franchise, so we could have interacted with Mahoney and Hooks and Jones and Hightower. And so much of this footage, he said that he would actually call it a lost movie. You know, that's how much footage they had. But the game just became one of several casualties because of the Control Vision's demise. I want to see that footage.
That would be amazing.
Right? I don't give a damn if it's 20, 30 years too late. I want to see it now.
Just let us see it. Yeah.
Make that thing happen. Anyway, but as I said...
Release the FMV cut.
Woo! But as I said, some other games were more fortunate than Police Academy. The team behind the NEMO project formed Digital Pictures in 1991 and purchased all of the NEMO assets from Hasbro. From there, they converted games like Sewer Shark and Night Trap from their VHS-based format to CD-ROM and released them on the Sega CD and continued to churn out more FMV titles until 1996. While some may remember titles like Slam City or Citizen X, Night Trap is the one that gained the most notoriety. Mm-hmm. And for what reason? Well, the initial concept of the game began as thieves trying to steal money from a rich family's mansion, as we mentioned before. Mm-hmm. That eventually morphed into vampires terrorizing women in a haunted house that was still a mansion. The dev team was aware that Hasbro might have some reservations about the content, and they did. So, they reworked some of the concepts. Vampires now became augurs. I don't understand what the hell is.
They were just like dudes in ninja costumes. I mean, the end result, anyway.
Sure.
I don't know if we're still talking about that yet.
Augurs?
Got to there yet.
Augurs? Anyway.
It was very bizarre.
They're renamed augurs, and they would be extracting blood from their victims, not by biting, but by extracting it through a device in which they kind of grasp onto their neck. But we never really see... Do we ever see blood?
Which looks so much worse than a vampire bite, might I add.
Right.
Just saying. Like, that was way more terrifying to think about.
However, this situation would create what Hasbro called non-reproducible violence. Because kids would go around biting people on necks.
But not creating blood extraction devices.
Right. Because they don't have the technology and the know-how to create a device like that. It just seems complicated, so we're not going to do that. They cannot reproduce that.
Okay. All right.
The script was also devoid of any sexually explicit content, although one could argue that watching scantily clad women through a surveillance system is admittedly creepy. But this is the game that was going to corrupt the youth of the 90s. Mm-hmm. This game, right here. As I was kind of mentioning prior, I had played a game. I played this game this week because it was on sale.
Oh, did you play Night Trap this week?
I did. And
fine.
I have never played it. Never played it. And I've always wanted to because I thought, I want to see what all the hubbub is about.
Yeah.
This game is not
It's so cringe.
Oh,
and but it's fantastic because I'm such a child. But
Yeah.
it's so cringe.
there is not anything about this that I wouldn't show to my own children.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't sitting there watching it going, oh my God, I have to make my children leave the room immediately because, oh my God, the ideas that are going to be in their head.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it, which to me speaks to the people who were blowing this out of proportion, not doing the research, just hearing tidbits.
I don't know.
But during this time in American history, numerous lawmakers with parent and religious groups were advocating for tighter restrictions on excessive violence and nudity. And you can look no further than behind the 7th Friday the 13th entry, which, if you want to really see how bad the industry was cracking down at all these movies that they were just like, it's just so gory, I can't believe it. They're tame in comparison to the crap that they do today.
Oh, today?
Yeah.
Yeah. God.
Like torture porn. Remember that stuff?
Right?
You heard of that stuff? Friday the 13th movies are not that bad. Not that bad at all.
No, I've been way more terrified at stuff that's happened later years than like horror movies from 70s and 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not necessarily true. The ambiance, they had to work a little bit more. Anyway, I'm derailing. But
It's
yes,
fine. It's
I
fine.
get your point.
Now, while video games had only begun to flirt with this boundary of, excessive violence and what we can get away with, this was the wrong time to attempt it if they didn't want that accompanying heat, This was a time when the government and these parents groups and everything were looking at these movies and trying to be like, oh, think of the children. Please think of the children. Night Trap was a schlocky, somewhat self-aware horror film parody that was made out to be some den of interactive debauchery. Funny that this very same game was released in 2017 with a teen rating. Teen. So the big question remains, what was it about this game that made it so maligned? One would argue that those who advocated against it were operating on minor bits of information, and then they blew it all out of proportion.
Which I tend to believe is the case on a lot of things.
I mean, that's a method not uncommon today on social media. We see it all the time. In any case, Night Trap, along with Mortal Kombat, became the primary targets in December of 1993, when the United States Senate kicked off the congressional hearings on video games to discuss involving violence in video games and the perceived impacts on children. The moment that changed everything. That we'll get to next week.
Damn you. Well, I think you said this actually on the last show, right? About the trial of the guy who did legitimately break into a mansion and attack.
Well, it was
kids.
a nice house, yes.
So
and kidnapped the girl and whatnot.
That could have been a reason that they were trying to point to that because, oh, look, a mansion. Oh, look, he clearly had to have gotten the idea from this and nowhere else. We've never seen a movie that's had this. I don't know. I always found it quite entertaining myself that Night Trap got so much attention. And it's when I look at it now, I'm like, dear God, this is the most cringe, cheesy thing.
Yeah.
And hard.
Yeah.
Hard game.
That was one part of it that I wasn't sure about because as I'm sitting there playing it, trying to figure out how to do everything, I was just like, I can't really watch anything that's going on. There's all this footage going on, and I can't enjoy it because I've got to watch.
You have to time it with which thing you're going to pay attention to if you want to see it all. Because, it really was hard. Even when I revisited it with the remaster, because I was like, hey, I have a way to play it again now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it had every version on the remaster that they did. Limited run, right?
Yeah.
It was limited run games. Who's been fantastic at preserving those old FMVs as of late. And my God, yeah. And when you fail, you have to start that whole thing over. So what was it's the scene with the Rockstar where he's with the mummies coming out of the thing. Oh, something about the moon. Dude, I don't know.
Yeah, I might not have seen. I know what you're talking
You'll
about.
eventually want to flip your keyboard because you're going to have to listen to that freaking song so many times to try to wait for the portion where you're supposed to click on it so you can trap whomever it is that's getting ready, and you just start to lose your mind. Because remember, we didn't have save points, so if you failed, you just had to start that whole thing over again, and you're like, I've seen this 30,000 times. I'm going to lose my mind. Which is probably why a lot of games didn't get beaten back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to get past it. I recommend it now.
It's a nice little throwback.
Night trap. Night trap. Singing a brush. Night trap.
Night trap.
Anyway. As you can tell, I enjoyed it. But excellent. Well, that's our show.
Yeah.
That's our show. You can hit us up sometime on Twitter at Super Mega Crash. You can send us an email to @supermegacrash@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram to view the weekly icon art that Steven puts his time and love into. And you can support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred platform and even going to patreon.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. You can tell your friends to find us on the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network or search Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and even going to youtube.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Lacey Finley.
And I'm Stephen White.
And you can join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But until then,
Game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.